A $5 plant from the garden section can lower your wall temperature by up to 28 degrees Fahrenheit. It reduces the cooling demand on a west-facing wall by almost 1/3. No wiring, no compressor, no electricity, just leaves and roots on the wall. The plant is common ivy. You may have seen it covering old churches, university buildings, and European shops, but rarely as a cooling solution. Most people focus on windows and roofs when thinking about heat gain. Yet walls, especially those facing south and west, are often the largest sun-exposed surfaces of a home. On a hot July afternoon, the siding can reach 150 degrees Fahrenheit. That heat travels through the sheathing, insulation, and into every room behind it. Your air conditioner fights that wall all day. The typical household spends over $1,000 annually on heating and cooling. Controlled experiments by the Royal Horticultural Society and the University of Reading, published in the journal Building and Environment, tested 3 climbing plants on model building structures to isolate their thermal impact. Ivy outperformed them all. It lowered the internal wall temperature by 7.2 degrees Celsius, roughly 13 degrees Fahrenheit inside the wall. The exterior surface dropped by 5.7 degrees. Surprisingly, it also decreased indoor humidity instead of increasing it. The common concern that ivy causes dampness was contradicted by the research. A separate experimental heat transfer study measured the actual energy passing through a real 2-story wall covered in thick ivy. On a west-facing wall during a clear summer day, ivy reduced the peak cooling load by 28%. That is almost a third of the work your air conditioner would otherwise handle. Professor Heather Viles at the University of Oxford conducted a 7-year study for historic England monitoring ivy on walls across Oxford, Dover, Bristol, Yorkshire, and Leicester. Her team observed that ivy-covered walls were 36% cooler in hot weather. In winter, those same walls were 15% warmer. Ivy acts in both seasons, cooling in summer and insulating in winter. Freeze-thaw measurements published in scientific reports showed a 26% reduction in freezing events, a 34% shorter duration, and a 32% decrease in severity. Ivy helped prevent walls from cracking in cold conditions. The Oxford team also found that ivy captures fine and ultrafine air pollution, filtering particles smaller than 2.5 microns at densities of billions per square meter. Living near a road, this plant can filter the air passing by your walls. Contrary to popular belief, ivy does not damage walls. Historic England spent 7 years and nearly 200,000 pounds investigating this. Ivy's aerial rootlets sit on the surface without penetrating sound masonry. On a well-maintained wall, ivy shields against driving rain, moderates temperature swings, filters pollutant erosion, and reduces freeze-thaw cycles that crack brick and stone over decades. The only caution is for deteriorating masonry. Existing cracks or failing mortar can allow ivy to worsen the damage. On a sound wall, ivy is beneficial. If the wall is already damaged, repair it first. That distinction explains the myth. Some walls were failing before ivy arrived and the plant was blamed. So how does ivy actually work? The figures are striking, and it helps to understand the physical process. 3 things happen at once, each valuable alone, but together they create a system no mechanical device can match. First is shade. The leaf canopy intercepts direct sunlight before it reaches the wall. This is obvious, but ivy surpasses a simple shade structure. Researchers comparing the two found the wall behind ivy was 7 degrees Celsius cooler than a wall shaded by a sail blocking the same sunlight. The second factor is evapotranspiration. The plant sweats. Water travels from soil through roots, stems, and leaves. As it evaporates, it draws heat from the surrounding air, similar to the cooling sensation on skin after stepping out of a shower. The leaf canopy doesn't just block sunlight, it actively cools the air near the wall. No electricity is needed, just water and biology. Third is the dead air layer. Between the leaves, backs, and the wall, a pocket of still air forms. Still air is an excellent insulator, the same principle behind double-pane windows or Velcro-sealed curtains. Heat must pass through the trapped air rather than moving freely. Shade, sweat, and still air, 3 cooling methods in one organism powered by water and sunlight for $5. Replacing siding on an average American home costs $10,000 to $17,000. That siding does not cool the wall. It does not provide summer insulation, filter pollution, or buffer temperature swings. It absorbs every degree the sun delivers and transfers it indoors, requiring replacement every 20 to 30 years. An ivy plant costs $5, covers a wall in 2 to 3 growing seasons, and lasts 30 years or longer. No operating costs, no replacement cycles, no service contracts. Ivy actively reduces thermal load on a wall by 1/3 in summer and insulates in winter. For a home, spending $1,300 a year on heating and cooling, that is hundreds of dollars saved annually for the plant's lifespan. $5 versus $15,000. One cools, the other intensifies heat. So why isn't every south-facing wall in America covered with ivy? Nobody banned it. The plant lacks a brand, profit margin, replacement cycle, or annual service visits. It sits in the garden aisle. 4 feet from displays advertising $12,000 in fiber cement siding, and few make the connection. Homeowner associations also restrict climbing plants, usually citing wall damage, a claim research disproves. The rulebook may force homeowners to leave sun-facing surfaces bare, paying to remove heat mechanically for life. It mirrors HOA rules banning white roofs and enforcing earth tones, colors that increase heat absorption. The invasive species issue is real in some areas. Oregon banned English ivy sales in 2010. Washington followed in 2025. In the Pacific Northwest, English ivy escapes yards, invades forests, climbs native trees, blocks sunlight, and can destroy the understory within a few years. It is a serious ecological problem there. Yet the same trait, fast growth, aggressive spread, and resilience that causes problems in forests makes ivy effective on walls. With 1 or 2 trims annually, it stays where planted. In the Pacific Northwest, Virginia creeper or Boston ivy can replace English ivy. Elsewhere in the country, where English ivy is not classified as a noxious weed, it is legal, available, and mostly ignored. Now, picture August. It is 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Walking along the south side of your house, you press your hand against the bare siding. Pull it back, the surface is scorching. You can sense heat radiating from 6 inches away. 2 steps to the left, where the ivy begins, you place your hand on the wall behind the leaves. Cool, not warm, not neutral. Cool to the touch under direct afternoon sun. The air between the leaves is still, soft. Standing there, you realize you cannot hear the air conditioning compressor running, not because it broke, but because it does not need to. That wall is no longer transferring heat into the home. That is the moment numbers become tangible. Here is what actually creates this effect. Notice its simplicity. Choosing the species matters. English ivy, Hedera helix, is evergreen. Leaves stay through winter, providing year-round cooling in summer, insulation in winter, and wall protection. It is the all-season option. Virginia creeper and Boston ivy are deciduous. They grow a dense canopy in spring and summer, offering full shade, evapotranspiration, and cooling. In autumn, the leaves fall, exposing the wall to low-angle winter sun, giving free solar heating precisely when needed. Spring returns, leaves grow, cooling resumes. The plant switches with the seasons. No thermostat, no timer, just biology responding to daylight and temperature, performing what a smart home system and motorized shades would replicate. Plant at the base of a south or west-facing wall for maximum cooling. On brick, stone, concrete, or stucco, ivy climbs on its own with aerial rootlets, needing no trellis, wire, or support. Dig a hole, plant it, water, and walk away. On wood or vinyl siding, a simple wire trellis or lattice is needed to keep the vine a few inches from the surface, allowing air circulation. Rootlets clinging directly to wood can trap moisture and eventually soften or rot siding. A $20 lattice and an afternoon with a drill is enough. Emphasize trellis and airflow. One plant covers 10 to 15 feet of wall width. Growth is 1 to 3 feet per year initially, then accelerates. Full coverage occurs in 2 to 3 growing seasons. For faster coverage, plant 3 or 4 starts 18 to 24 inches apart, costing $15 to $20 total, achieving meaningful coverage by the end of the first summer. Trim once or twice a year to keep it off gutters, windows, and the roofline. The limitation is patience. An air conditioner cools instantly, but even multiple plants need 1 full growing season to meaningfully shade a wall. That delay is real, a reason many rely on mechanical cooling. Yet an AC costs $5,000, lasts 15 years, and runs electricity continuously. A plant costs $5, lasts 3 decades, and operates on rain. Right now, a wall on your house has absorbed heat since 7 a.m. The AC has been running since 9, the meter spinning. Meanwhile, 5 miles away in a store garden aisle, in a 4-inch pot between hostas and ferns, sits a plant that could have stopped that heat for $5, with no wiring, permit, or monthly bill. The Romans grew it on villas. Oxford colleges have had it on walls for centuries. Historic England spent 7 years proving it protects the buildings it covers. The HOA down the street says you cannot have it, claiming wall damage. Research proves otherwise. The plant is available on the shelf. All that is missing is someone pointing at it. Please leave your thoughts about this content in the comments below. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.